is Ashley. I'm 20 years old. I'm a theater major at York. I love musical theater, acting, hanging with friends, watching Netflix. I'm a hockey fan. I'm a student, sister, and I'm HIV positive. When I was first told, I was 7 years old. My parents sat me down and they told me, they're just like, Ashley, the reason why you take all these medications and go to all these doctor's appointments is because you have a virus called HIV. And at the time, I was so little, I didn't understand what it meant. So I just kind of shrugged it off and I said, what's for dinner? And then my parents were just like, Ashley, like, take this seriously, this isn't a joke. And they said, you can't tell anybody. Growing up, I went through different phases. So at first when I was told, very naive, didn't really understand, just told everybody. Sometimes I'd go to a supermarket and I'd say, hey, I'm HIV positive to the cashier. And my mom, she'd just kind of look at me and be like, what are you doing? Like, don't say it, because a lot of the time they would give my parents like a dirty look and being like, oh, you gave it to her. Which wasn't true because I contracted it at birth from my birth mother, and I was adopted when I was 6 months old. I've dealt with a lot of stigmatization, a lot of discrimination, being uninvited to birthday parties as a young kid. And I went through times in my life, especially like when I was like 8, 9, 10 years old, when I was very scared. I'd ask my mom sometimes, out of fear, I'd say, am I going to get married? Am I going to have kids? Will I go to university? But my mom, every time I asked one of these questions, she just said, yes. You are going to live, you're going to thrive, you're going to have your own kids one day, you're going to go to university. I think in terms of like being a young adult, just trying to like navigate my way through life and through relationships, I feel like that's been, I wouldn't say necessarily hard, but it's definitely been interesting. Because it's always something that I've had to keep in the back of my mind, that, oh, if I'm interested in a guy and he finds out about my HIV, what's he gonna say? And there's always that fear that they're gonna completely reject me. But I've also grown thick enough skin to be like, well, if you can't accept my HIV, you can't accept me. I've had a lot of people ask me over the years, if you could go back and not have HIV, would you? And I always say no. Because if I didn't have HIV, then my life would be very different. I definitely wouldn't be the same person. I don't think I'd have the same morals and values as I do now, just because having HIV has taught me to be a lot stronger. I'm very lucky to have had the life I do have despite having HIV, because a lot of people see it as a hindrance, but for me, I see it as help. It has made me who I am today, and has made me a lot stronger and happier person. In terms of someone dealing with HIV, someone born with it, someone who contracted it when they're 25, it doesn't matter. I just want them to know on this Valentine's Day that you are worthy of love, and that everyone's worthy of love. Having HIV doesn't diminish you as a person. It doesn't make you any less of a person. It makes you human. It makes you know that you have gone through different experiences, and to know that you need to be able to love yourself.